Man, what's cracking, gang? It's T Nasty, and I'm back with another banger for you guys. So if you are a fellow CTE Society member, then this video is for you. The real violence ball knowers know that you have to be watching BKFC. The UFC has been taken over by athletes, and Bareknuckle is where the real fighters are. So Bareknuckle is what we're going to be discussing here today. Shout out to my boy Walker Big Fan on Twitter for giving me this idea. I saw him say that a certain fighter we will discuss later should go to BKFC, and it reminded me of a couple other fighters that I thought would do well over there. And I was thinking, you know what? Let's make this into a video. So today, I'm going to be giving you at least one fighter from every division that I believe would either do very well or just put on super entertaining fights if they were to switch to bare knuckle boxing. Starting off in the Pip Squeak division, we have Kai Kara France. Now this dude can crack. He's one of the few flyweights who actually have KO power. I would just love to see him go over there and just start knocking cans out in like 30 seconds flat. Literally every BKFC fight, it either is like super quick knockout in the first round or it ends up being an absolute war. And I think Kai would be able to do both of those things. He pretty much already does both those things in the UFC. So I think he would be a right fit. He's mainly a boxer, so I think his style would translate well. I'm really not sold on him being like a champion or anything, but he definitely would destroy all of the bums and would go to war with any of the actual good bare knuckle fighters. Shout out to Joshua Van as well. I think he would also put on some sick fights in BKFC, but I just think Kai needs to make the switch a little more for his career. Now for the bantamweights, I got to go with my dog, Peter Yan. This man is by far the most violent guy in the division, and I think he would put on some absolute wars in bare knuckle. He has elite boxing, and he has been very hard to put away, so I actually think he would be a champion in the bare knuckle ring. This one really is just self-explanatory. I mean, we all love Peter Yan. Just imagine him in bare knuckle boxing, bro. He would put on some of the most violent fights of all time. The other guy I considered was Song Yadong. I think he would do well for sure, but Peter Yan is the one at bantamweight for sure. For featherweight, we're going to have to give it to Josh Emmett. Dude, this guy would absolutely nuke guys in bare knuckle. It'll be much easier for him to land those bombs without the gloves, and very few people are going to be able to eat those shots. This man, Josh Emmett, without gloves is just like kind of unfair, to be honest. I think a rematch with Jeremy Stephens makes sense, but that would be a big fight in bare knuckle for sure. Josh Emmett would be absolutely insane in BKFC. I think he could be a champion there as well. We also got to mention Diego Lopez and Aaron Pico. I also think they would put on some sick fights in BKFC, but I need to see some Josh Emmett CTE Society KOs. In the lightweight division, it was a very, very tough call to make. I got to give honorable mentions to both Michael Chandler and Benoit Saint Denis. These guys both are super entertaining, and without the gloves, it would be even better. But there's one guy who is the perfect man for BKFC. Come on, man. Dan the Hangman Hooker. Bro, you already know this motherfucker would put on ridiculous fights in bare knuckle. If I had to pick one guy who would do well there, it has to be the Hangman. He would be in the corner, face turned to mush, just talking about how much he loves this shit. He would be a BKFC legend. I really just want to see Dan Hooker versus Platinum Mike Perry for the King of Violence title. Book that shit now. At welterweight, it was another tough one for me. The man I want to see in BKFC from this division, though, is Carlos the Nightmare Prates. I just want to see how his power would translate without the gloves. I personally think he would go out there and just absolutely sleep guys. CTE Society level KOs. Anybody who can't get through his reach is getting sent to the fucking Shadow Realm. I honestly don't know if he would be champion, but I just want to see him sleep people. I love Carlos, and I think his power would do very well without the gloves. The other man I wanted to see is my boy JDM. Listen, boys, we will be glazing JDM in every video going forward, and we will be beating Islam Makhachev in MSG. But this one doesn't need too much explaining. One of the best boxers in the UFC, bare knuckle boxing, would be cinema. At middleweight, we got to go with one of the guys who inspired this video, my boy Kelvin Gastelum. This fucking guy, he really had potential to be champ, but he just was never able to lock in and make it happen. But he has really good stand-up and crazy power. He pretty much only uses his hands anyway, so just take the gloves off, KO some bums, and he might actually be able to sniff the championship again. I got to give an honorable mention for this one to Shara Bullet. This dude, I think he would be pretty sick in BKFC. He's a vicious striker, so I'd love to see that violence in bare knuckle. He's mostly a kicker, though, so I'm just really not sure if he'd be able to translate it too well. So that's why Kelvin Gastelum is my pick for middleweight. At light heavyweight, we're giving it to Yuri Prohashka. The way he fights would just be crazy to see in bare knuckle boxing, man. I know for a fact he would still fight the same way and just be spamming footwork, throwing crazy punches. I think his power would do very well without gloves as well. Just imagine all the sick knockouts this dude would get in BKFC. You could run a fight with Ben Rothwell or Lorenzo Hunt. Those fights would be huge, and he would bring the violence. Shout out for this one to Alex Pereira and Dom Reyes. I think they would get some violent KOs as well, but Yuri Prochazka is the man for this list. Before we get to heavyweight, I gotta go over the two guys who inspired this video, the Tafa Bros. I tweeted this a couple weeks ago when Junior fucking lost to Taco Tacos, but these two actually should really consider this change. They would do great in BKFC. The rest of the guys on this list are actually pretty successful in MMA and don't really need to make the change, but these two are in the wrong fucking sport. They're riding off of a few KOs against fucking bums, and ever since, they just got fraud checked over and over again. Literally all they do is box. They have zero grappling, zero defense, zero kicking game, but in bare knuckle, I think they would actually do good. Like with their boxing and their KO power, I don't know if they would actually be like champion or anything, but I think they could at least get to like a title fight or like some big main events at the very least. Absolute bums in MMA, especially Junior Tafa. Like, how do you lose to Muhammad Usman and Taco Tacos, bro? But they would be BKFC legends for sure. And last but not least at heavyweight is probably the best boxer and one of the most powerful heavyweights, Sergey Pavlovich. This man would just steamroll anybody who isn't able to move around and avoid his shots. He would be turning the lights out in literally like 10 seconds every fucking fight. Him versus Ben Rothwell, that's a fight I really want to see. Like, just book that shit now. Sergey Pavlovich in BKFC would be awesome, and I think he would be way better suited in the ring than in MMA, especially without the gloves. Alright boys, these are my picks for the UFC fighters from every weight class who would put on badass fights in BKFC. Some of them I think could even be champion. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of BKFC and what fighters you want to see in bare knuckle. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, become a member, share this shit on Facebook, create a second account, and then repeat all those steps for me. If you are not doing those things, then respectfully, you are casual. Content is back, boys. Road to 250. Let's go.